A requested video from a few weeks back, and I'm getting to it as promised. In today's Tactical Tuesday episode, let's discuss the hate of hybrids. In BT7, this set was notoriously known as the hybrid meta, pushing either blue or yellow hybrid. Blue hybrid had amazing consistency with David Lagos winning back-to-back Ultimate Cups, piloting the same blue hybrid list. An absolute mad lad and tenacious player. Again, congratulations on your back-to-back victories. Blue hybrid was not the only hybrid deck that saw a lot of competitive play, but yellow and purple as well. But moving into BT8, the game introduced a few tools to help with the case of the hybrid meta. But before we move into BT8, what were previous tools that could be utilized to go against the hybrid format? And if you enjoy these types of videos, do consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification bell for more of my future content. Tamers were one of the most untouched resources in the Digimon trading card game, but Bandai, having developed Tamers that were specific for not letting you get choked to 1 or 2 memory, they had to be very careful when it came to designing cards that would delete them. Tamers would be the hybrid engine's way to cheat Digimon onto the battlefield. Memory setters putting you to 3 memory, or even other Tamers that could gain you 2 additional memory, meeting specific conditions. Whether you had a Digimon with Digivolution sources, or you simply had less security than your opponent. The very first card that could delete a Tamer was Omnimon Zwart Defeat. This bad boy came out in BT5 Battle of Omni, and its price was a solid $50 to $60 for a long time. Not only that, but it was played in security control type decks. But the Tamer deletion only happened when you Digivolved into it. In terms of playability, this required you to have a level 6 Digimon on board. If we assume the cheapest Digivolution costs and the average Digivolution cost going to level 6, you have to invest between 5 and 8 memory just to get there first, and hope your opponent doesn't have a way to delete your Digimon. Overall, I rank Omnimon Zwart Defeat at the lower end of best Tamer removal. However, before diving into the next Digimon, the white option card Alt Delete is another option if you have an Omnimon out on the board. But memes and jokes aside, this option card costs 10 memory and requires you to have an Omnimon out on the board. Not very easy as well, considering the memory investment went up between 8 and 12, or even 14 before you have to pay 10 memory to wipe everything off the board. Again, jokes aside, Omnimon Zwart Defeat and Alt Delete are the bottom tier favorites for your counter to hybrid. But if you really want other ways to deal with hybrids, let's move on to some other Digimon. This Digimon also takes time to set up, and being the favorite of BT7, this Digimon did not have too much of a home and felt inconsistent, at least to me, when it came to the hybrid format. Lucemon Chaos Mode, a Digimon that could delete any level 6 or lower Digimon or Tamer on play or when Digivolving. This powerful card cost a whopping 14 memory to play, but has the cost reduced by 3 for every 10 cards in your trash. Meaning at 30 cards in your trash, this Digimon would only cost you 5 memory. But why bother with trying to hardcast it or Digivolve it off of a yellow Lucemon when you can just trash it with card effects and bring it back with Dead or Alive? Moving past BT7 and BT8, the Mastamon starter decks breathe new life into this card, making it even easier to accomplish. With starter deck Gatomon capable of grabbing this Digimon if you had the means to trash said Lucemon, I don't know, with BT3 Lady Devimon or the starter deck Lady Devimon, you could easily play a Magnet Angemon for 6 memory to recover 1, end of turn DNA Digivolve into Mastamon, then place a purple Digimon from your trash, i.e. that Lucemon you just tossed in there, and play from the security to pop a Tamer. Mastamon has continuously been a popular deck this set, but there's one other deck that can also potentially throw a damper on the hybrid meta strategy. Black War Greymon, another BTA Digimon introduced dual utility in several ways. While you do have to invest some memory to get up into this Digimon, typically 4 to 6 memory, you will likely have a Digimon that can swing into any Digimon on their board, thanks to BT8 Metal Greymon's inheritable effect. But do keep in mind, you only delete a Tamer if you have a black Digimon in this Digimon's Digivolution sources. And the best part is, you can potentially delete 2 Tamers with a play cost of 3 or less. 3-cost Tamers are most susceptible to Black or Greymon, while 4-cost memory fixers become the hard choice of do I delete their memory fixer or their Digimon. At a state where lethal is presented with either a Digimon on board or the Tamer into a hybrid, if Black or Greymon has blocker, kill the Tamer. Memory fixing is so important. And while these cards mentioned above do delete Tamers, one card does affect Tamers despite not deleting them. I'm referring to BT5 Argomon, a green level 6 Digimon that is arguably one of the cheapest ways to mess with hybrid decks. By digivolving into this Digimon, you suspend all of your opponent's Tamers, and they don't unsuspend until this Digimon is removed. While it doesn't affect Tamers played later, having 4 to 5 Tamers suspended and locking out their effects can really slow them down. And any hybrids digivolved into this would be suspended for picking off next turn. Final takeaway thoughts, number 1. When an egg flips to reveal Kiaromon, very likely you're playing against a blue hybrid matchup. The yellow matchup is likely if you see TK Takashi or Zoe Orimoto for their opening play. But if it's Kari or Gatomon, it's a Mastamon matchup. Number 2. Against hybrid decks, force your opponent to play their Tamers. Because if you attack into the security early game, you might reveal Tamers for them to use to their advantage. Against blue hybrid, maximize your memory before going into the security. Hammer Sparks and Tamers are the worst thing to hit, but if you can present lethal on board, you're good to go. Against yellow hybrid, definitely build up board to a lethal presence. But do keep in mind, yellow has other cards that can potentially set you back with the appearance of Digimon like Rapidmon, and also option cards like Wyvern's Breath and or Eden's Javelin. TK and Kari is the worst Tamer to hit in this matchup, especially if their security is less than yours. And finally, Green Hybrid. This deck recently won the Ultimate Cup and should not be underestimated by any means. They have variable ways to be either aggressive with Ancient Beetlemon or control the board with Shivamon. And number 3. My last tip for going against hybrids. Make them go first. The average play cost of what a hybrid deck does is pass you 3 memory, whether it be from playing a Tamer or slapping Bokomon down on the board. Going second, you have the advantage of drawing on your turn and also potentially climbing up to a level 5 or slapping a memory fixer down to memory choke them. But do keep in mind, RNG ultimately decides how your match goes. If you're playing Imperial Dramon, a simple Tamihimi can end your combos by stripping your XVmon and Stingmon from Pail Dramon, rendering your Imperial Dramon plays useless. What are your thoughts on hybrid hate? Do you agree or disagree? Do you feel there need to be more cards that target Tamers? Personally, I feel there needs to be a card like Nidhoggmon, but it affects Tamers and bottom decks them. But that'll be another discussion for the future. This is DIGI-PANDA, logging out.